DJ Moore this offseason. Finally, I know the Saints took Jordan Tyson in the first round. He has been limited by that hamstring injury leading up to the draft. Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's younger brother, who can also flat out fly, has been making an early mark. This New Orleans offense all of a sudden pretty exciting between Chris Olave and Tyler Shough returning with these two receivers they added in the first 4 rounds of the draft as well.
Yeah. I genuinely believe the New Orleans Saints are one of the most severely underdiscussed teams in the entire league right now, and frankly, I find it absolutely insane. Just take a look at the numbers we're seeing. I mean, they're sitting at a mere 19% to win their division, and only 24% to secure a playoff berth. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons, and I just released a video about them, don't even have a settled quarterback situation. They don't even know who their starting signal caller is at this moment, and yet they're sitting at 28%. And on top of that, the broader football world is still trying to buy into Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I think is genuinely crazy when you stack it all up. But honestly, I just think the Saints are so underdiscussed relative to their potential. They have a legitimate chance to field such an explosive, well-oiled machine of an offense with Tyler Shough and Kellen Moore at the helm. I mean, they have dudes all over the roster. They have pieces, they have weapons, they have playmakers at every level. They'll be able to run the ball effectively and throw the ball downfield with authority. I don't see the offense even being remotely close to a limiting factor for this team. It's just not something I'm concerned about when I look at their personnel. But before I dive any deeper into this analysis, I need to make a crucial request to the New Orleans Saints faithful out there. Please, please, please do know. Forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you watch the full-length video. That is, without any shadow of a doubt, the single most effective way to support the continued growth and success of this channel. It enables us to keep having the most objective, well-grounded, and sincere conversations about the New Orleans Saints. I've said this to you guys before, and I'll say it again, it's not always the easiest to create Saints content, you know? It can be a bit of a challenge. Either people actually watch the videos, or like 75 people watch them, and there's not much in between. It's just not easy to justify making videos if people aren't watching them, right? I want to be able to create Saints content that people actually want to watch, so we can have awesome discussions and really be able to talk about every team out there with equal enthusiasm. It's honestly so funny to me that the NFC South has become a division that I have become so hyper-focused on. Because everyone in the football world just keeps making fun of this division. Everyone is always like, oh, I can't wait for the Real football to start, or they dismiss the NFC South entirely. And to be fair, I can't wait to watch the Chargers and the Broncos play, and I can't wait to watch the Rams and the Seahawks battle it out. And I just was listening to George Kittle give an interview where he said something like, you know, this has been the best division for the last few years, or whatever he said exactly. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's going to be really exciting to watch the 49ers play the Rams and all that type of stuff. And I get that. Eagles-Cowboys always answers the call. Bills and the Patriots now with Josh Allen and Drake May is compelling. But it's like, this division is awesome. Like, this division is so awesome. I'm so fired up about it, man. I keep saying it over and over again. And pretty much if I make a Falcons video, if I make a Saints video, if I make a Panthers video, it's because I feel like I'm trying to market this division to people. Like, the NFL should be like, hey, we want you to do our ads for the NFC South. Because it's like, seriously, I am, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I cannot wait for the Falcons versus the Saints. I can't wait for the Panthers versus the Buccaneers. Like, I honestly truly cannot wait for these matchups. And it's like, these games used to be just so agonizing to watch, but now I think we're in for a real show. And part of that is my belief in the Saints and what they're going to be able to accomplish this season. Like, they have weapons all over the field. And they have the coach to tie it all together in Kellen Moore. And they have the quarterback who can take his shot and make the plays when they matter most. So, it's just like, honestly, I look at these percentages and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to square those numbers with what I'm seeing on paper. I think it's a true 25-25-25-25 split across the division. I'm really feeling that way. I really, really, really feel that way. That it's 25% for each team, and I don't think there's a single other division in the league that I feel that way about. There's not. Quick math, no. I can't think of a single division where I'm just like, this is a complete toss-up. I want to keep saying coin flip, but obviously it's not a coin flip with 4 teams. Or roll the dice, it's not that either. So, what has 4 sides? I don't know, but it's a 4-sided something. A 4-sided coin, maybe. That's how I feel about this division. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And what's so cool about it, though, is that especially for the Falcons, Saints, and the Panthers, it feels like any team that's winning, any team that's taking control of the division, even if it's just by a single game, it'll feel like they're really putting something together. It'll feel like they have the future genuinely looking bright. Whereas in years past, this division, right? It's just like you're kind of just backing into winning it. You don't really feel like you're setting yourself up for sustained success in the future. Here, it's different. If the Saints are winning the division, and I don't mean like, when I'm using things like win the division, I just mean like it's week 10 and they're leading the division, I guess, you're going to have a sense of like, man, the future's bright with New Orleans. Like, man, we've been on a long journey, but we finally got there. You're going to feel great about the direction of the franchise. If the Panthers are leading the division, it's like you're going to feel like, alright, we finally got this thing going on. We finally got Bryce Young on track, right? Like, we got our coach, we got our quarterback, we got our defense. Like, alright, we're feeling good about ourselves. The Falcons is like, whoa, we're getting awesome play by either Tua or Penix, or whoever the quarterback is, they feel comfortable now. Alright, we finally got our coach. Stefanski's proven his worth. Right? Like, it's like, alright, the only team that I leave out of that conversation is the Buccaneers. And it's not that I'm hating on them. And if you're a Bucs fan, you're going to be like, then do you always hate? And it's like, I just don't think even if you're kind of competitive or even if you're leading the division that you should feel super optimistic about like, alright, Baker's ushering in a new era of Buccaneers football. Yeah, I think you're just going to continue to get exactly what you've gotten over these last few years. Yeah, you can win the division. Yeah, you can be competitive. Yeah, you can have like a fun playoff game or two and not win the Super Bowl. And so it's just like, it matters less to me because the ceiling feels more defined. But yeah, like so that's where it is. And I think the Saints represent that perfectly, especially because they're in the position where it's like, SE. Condier head coach. Kellen Moore's obviously been around the block once or twice, but second-year head coach and now second-year quarterback, right? Like, this is the team that's best positioned of like, you haven't seen our best yet. The Falcons, on the other hand, they have to figure out who is their quarterback. And even when they figure out their quarterback, there's still going to be that overwhelming sense of, is Tua really going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years? Like, is Penix really going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years? Like, you're going to have that angst. As someone who really likes both those quarterbacks, I can't be like, alright, Tua, it's comfortable. I don't know how you can feel comfortable for like a long extended period of time. Doesn't mean that they're not going to have success. Doesn't mean that they can't do it. But it's just like you can't go to sleep at night feeling comfortable knowing that Tua is your guy because you just always have the feeling of like, his career could be cut short. He can get concussed at any given moment. The Panthers with Bryce Young, I think, even, and again, to be clear, I think this is a moment of clarity, a season of clarity for the Panthers. And I'll be making a Panthers video soon enough discussing this more, but it's like, unless Bryce Young has an absolute breakout, oh my gosh, he's putting up top 3, top 4, top 5 numbers, even if he plays significantly better and has 1-0. F his best seasons, you'll probably still have a sense of, how consistent is he? Right? Like, how consistent is he? Is he someone we can trust? Is he up and down? Is this who he is? I got to see him do it again before I really start crowning him as finally becoming the quarterback that he was meant to be as a number 1 overall pick. I got to see it again. I got to see it again. They feel that way about Sam Darnold right now, and the dude won a Super Bowl. So it's certainly going to be like that way for Bryce Young. Tyler Shough is a different situation there because of where he's at in his career, because of what he did with the Saints year 1 and now what he can do in year 2. If he goes out there and he's balling and he's having a really good season and you're just like, wow, Tyler Shough is really solid, really good, you're going to feel like that's your quarterback. You're going to have more confidence in that conclusion drawn about that quarterback. You're going to have confidence. You're not going to see a great game against Matthew Stafford or him hanging 30 points on the Buccaneers and be like, well, that was just kind of a weird outlier. You're going to feel like, yeah, this is our guy. This is our quarterback. This is who Kellen Moore wanted. Like, this is our coach-quarterback duo. It's Kellen Moore and Tyler Shough. Like, let's go. That's how you're going to feel. So I do think there's a different degree of confidence that can be had about moving for war. In the next 2, 3, 4, and beyond years that is squarely on the shoulders of the Saints more than any of these other teams. Even if the Panthers, and again, because I'm really interested to see what the Panthers do, it's like, Bryce Young is definitely also a bit of that kind of really interesting. Where do you think it's going to land ultimately for him? What will he need to do for you to have that confidence? I just think the barrier to entry is surprisingly lower for Shough with Kellen Moore. That's really what it probably ultimately comes out to be. Think about Sam Darnold. It's always like, oh, he's going to go pumpkin mode. He's going to turn into a pumpkin. Daniel Jones, he's going to turn into a pumpkin. I don't think Tyler Shough is going to bring that in the way that I do think Tua can bring, or Penix can bring, or Baker can bring, or Bryce can bring. There's just something different about his trajectory and the system he's in. So, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting dynamic to watch unfold. But, those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the New Orleans Saints and what they will be able to accomplish this season? And how do you feel about these NFC South projections? I really am standing firm on 25-25-25-25. It's not a cop-out. It's not riding the fence. I really just honestly have no idea, and I'm not afraid or ashamed to admit it. I'm not in the business of always trying to make bold predictions so I can do a big massive victory lap later. But I am going to do a victory lap when this division ends up being legitimately competitive and really fun to watch. I will say I told you so. I will say, see, I told you the Buccaneers were going to be competitive. I told you the Panthers were going to be good. I told you the Saints were going to be good. Like, I told you this was going to be a really fun season to watch for the NFC South. So, I will do that victory lap. But, you know, in this moment of time and maybe as we get closer to the season and within the first few games, I'm leaning in one direction, but ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. But I'm not prepared to commit to it just yet. And it does depend on a handful of other factors. But, yeah. I'll just leave it at that right now. I'll leave it at that for the time being. It's just crazy to me. The NFC South. Book it. It's going to be absolute must-watch football. It's going to be exciting from start to finish. These are my preliminary thoughts. I read every single comment that gets posted. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. Let's challenge each other's viewpoints. But ultimately, let's just have some fun with it. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you become a part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing exactly that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much for your time and engagement. I'll see you next time.